Hello and welcome to Prospero Teaching's online course. The video will be split into sections, each followed by questions. It's important that you watch each video fully before answering the questions. Once you have finished watching this first video section, click the button below to confirm you've finished watching it and the questions will automatically appear. Once you've answered the questions, the next video clip will play.
The aims of this course are to understand the behavioural theory behind attachment disorder, to recognise the types and causes of attachment disorder, and to describe how to deploy different classroom management strategies effectively for students with attachment disorder. You can see here the structure of the course. It is divided into two sections, each followed by a set of questions. First of all, we're going to look a bit at the scientific theory behind attachment. In order for a species to survive, there need to be mechanics in place to protect young whilst they are immature and unable to fend for themselves. This includes sourcing food, being protected, and learning other skills for survival. Birds, for example, do this from hatching, often imprinting on the first thing they see, most likely a parent. This approach is obviously favoured through evolution, and therefore is now instinctive in many species. For example, while studying animal behaviour, Konrad Lorenz successfully had goslings, young geese, imprint on him and follow him around. He achieved this by being the first moving object that the chicks encountered after hatching. It was therefore thought that the relationship between mother and child was driven primarily by her being able to fulfill its primary drives, most obviously the need for sustenance. However, this does not explain how humans can form equally strong relationships with others, for example paternal, between siblings, marital or romantic relationships. Therefore, we must ask the question, what else does this relationship provide apart from food, protection and learning? Harry Harlow explored this question in the mid-20th century with a set of studies using young monkeys. The experiment involved baby monkeys raised in captivity. It aimed to answer the question whether the infant monkeys would prefer a surrogate mother that provided food or a surrogate mother that provided comfort. The experiment found that overwhelmingly, the results showed that all monkeys preferred comfort over food. This therefore suggested that this contact comfort was at least as significant as the basic needs for nourishment, protection and learning. This led researchers to attempt to answer the following questions. Does early parenting affect later life? Can infants bond with anyone, or does it have to be the mother? And what features of parenting are important for attachment? John Bowlby identified a common theme in his casework with children involved in criminality or diagnosed with mental health problems. He recognised that these children had lost either one or both of their parents in early childhood due to any number of reasons, or that they had had very poor parenting themselves. This led him to develop the term maternal deprivation. By the age of 9 months, most babies will have developed a close bond with their caregiver. They will know who to rely on for food, shelter, love and protection. For this reason, it is common for babies aged between 6 and 9 months to go through a clingy stage. They will get upset when separated from their parents as they associate them with safety. But these bonds aren't always made. When the security and safety element is lost, the child can find it extremely difficult to cope with new experiences and form bonds with others. When this bond is not made, the child can be at risk of developing behavioural and emotional difficulties. However, care must be taken not to assume that it is only the biological mother that can prevent maternal deprivation, and that it is a single attachment. Attachment in infants is based on relatively long-term, stable relationships with carers. And the scientist Bowlby explicitly recognised that attachment to a father figure supports attachment to a mother figure, as well as acknowledging that other people in an infant's social world can also play important roles. He also concluded that the care can be equally well provided by other consistently and reliably available people that are not the biological parents. Hence, a belief that only the mother can be an effective caregiver is not supported by attachment theory, which is relevant for views about mothers working while their children are very young, for social workers concerned about placing children who are at risk, and for safeguarding children in identifying possible unhealthy other attachments. Working with mothers and infants, Donald Winnicott identified that a mother needn't be perfect, but it was important for her to be emotionally available to her infant and for a system of two-way communication to be built up. 3 key areas that promote secure infant attachment are responding with sensitivity, mind-mindedness, and emotional communication. Sensitivity includes parenting that is nurturing and attentive, non-restrictive care, and harmonious interactions. Parents who over or understimulate, fail to be flexible with their behaviour, sometimes act ineptly or appear cold and rejecting, can result in insecure infants. We will look at these different types of attachment later on in the course. With mind-mindedness, studies showed it is important that parents treat their children as people with thoughts and feelings, being mind-minded, rather than just seeing the needs that need to be met. The final aspect of attachment security is the emotional response by both parents and infants. Secure infants tend to express equal amounts of positive, neutral, and negative emotions, and subsequently receive responses from their carers for the full range of emotions in return. Infants with unresponsive parents can develop avoidant attachment disorder. This is when infants learn to suppress emotions in general, but particularly suppress their negative feelings. Another type of attachment disorder is that of ambivalence. Infants with ambivalent attachment disorder exhibited a lot of distress when young, which was responded to by their parents, learning that the negative emotions get attention, thus reinforcing them as valid emotions in the relationship. We will now discuss these attachment types in turn and try to think about each one in a classroom context. Students that are securely attached are characterised by confidence in their caregiver's ability to comfort them and be available for them. Anxiously attached avoidant infants lack confidence in the caregiver's ability, leading to either control or down-regulation of their emotions, and show little distress during separation and lack interest at reunion. Anxiously attached ambivalent students, or resistant infants, show distress at separation, but are not comforted by their caregiver's return. They seem to therefore exaggerate affect to gain the caregiver's attention. Disorganised or disorientated infants seek proximity to the caregiver, but in a strange and disoriented way, such as freezing in the middle of a movement or just staring into space. Let's have a quick think about examples of students that would display these types of behaviours. A student with a stable home life who's enthusiastic to see both teachers at the start of the day and parents at the end, and are also happy to communicate with adults around them, would be described as being securely attached. Anxiously attached avoidant students would be those who appear withdrawn for a lot of the time and show little emotion for either sanctions or praise. Anxiously attached ambivalent students would seek attention, often through over-exaggerating both positive and negative behaviours for attention. Disorganised and disorientated behaviours can be most difficult to identify, but students may be characterised by a difficulty in maintaining routines and organisation. Attachment disorders are commonly accompanied by other special educational needs, therefore making them even harder to identify.
You have now completed this section of the course. Please click below to confirm that you have watched the video clip in full, and then click the Next button. The questions will appear. Once you have finished the questions, the next video will automatically play.